Welcome everyone. Today we have another Genshin Impact News Digest. In this News Digest, we're looking into the crowdsourcing of the drop rates made by Larry over here, very thankful of him. So we can see a number of tabulated values and we can go through each of those to see what is the best strategies if you're looking for certain type of values at different world level. We can also see the 3 weekly bosses including Trout, and also the artifact dungeons, essential material upgrades, and also talent books dungeons. After that, we'll look into some of the community's recommendations of having special features like the DPS dummy or having a pet system that's in the game. Finally, we'll go through some of the fun posts about Genshin, about different dialogues of the latest event, and how Child can be the character that's contributing to our 3-star wishes. We'll also look at this very lovely food comic about before the fight and after the fight with food items. Now before we go into today's news, it is very important for us to remind ourselves that there's only 3 days with the web event with Stone Harbor. I have managed to get all of the rewards by today. There is only 3 days left of the event, so what you want to do guys is you want to go to the event page over here and you want to make sure you actually have enough opportunities to do the highest event. And this way achieve the maximum score for 48,000 and unlock all of your rewards. There's only 3 days left, make sure you claim them. And if you have to, set an alarm on for every 20 minutes and come back and just make sure you get to over 48,000. Coming over to the drop rate table made by Larry over here, we can see that he has had a total of the crowdsourcing of 2,500-ish runs. And out of those runs, there's about 10,000 3-stars, about 4,500 4-stars, and 800 5-stars collected out of those dungeons and boss farming. Let's first have a look at the 40 risen cost of the elite bosses that's across the world for the character essential materials. Coming over to the tables, we can see that at world level 4, it is possible to drop some of the 5-stars. The rate is not very high in comparison. We can see 2% over here, we can see a 6% over here, and for the rest of the bosses, it's pretty much 0% out of all of the data submitted. The rates for 5-star artifacts also dramatically increase at world level 5 and also 6. There's a much better chance for the artifacts, and similarly, the chances for the essential materials also increase in regards to that. Now as we look at this table of tabulated values from the crowdsourcing, keep in mind the number of instances of the dungeons from the submitted data also affects the result. Because we have a lot more data submitted on world level 5, you can see the drop rates, everything's being more likely to be a good estimate. We can see that on world level 6, there isn't a lot of submitted data because back then most people did not get to adventure level 45. So keep in mind guys, those are estimated values and this is from the crowdsourcing. So what that means is a lot of people are submitting the results on the data gathering the Discord, and usually most people are level 5 with world level, and this is how they submitted the result. To summarize the data found with the elite bosses that cost 40 risen. At world level 5, we're expecting about 20% chance to get a 5-star artifact and about 40% chance at world level 6. Of course, the rates for the green, blue and purple essential materials also increase as the world level increase, and that is to be expected. Next up, let's come over to the weekly bosses. We can see the wolf boss, the villain, and also Child over here. Keep in mind guys, we want to focus on the most data gathered. And usually this is with world level 5, because this gives us more consistent estimates, and you can see that the Child result is not a lot, so those are probably not a good estimate. What we can see is we do get a lot of the 5-star artifacts starting about world level 3, and afterwards the rate is over 100% pretty much, so you're guaranteed with 1 golden artifact, and that is to be expected. After that, the essential material seems to be dropping more often with world level 5 and 6. We can see the numbers over here. And finally guys, the most important part are the prototypes, because we can craft with the blacksmith with them. Starting with world level 4 and world level 5, we're looking at about 15 to 19% over here and about 28% over here. So from the tabulated values, it is likely the prototype chances are about 15 to 20% starting with world level 4 or world level 5. And looking at my own loot from doing the weekly bosses, this seems to be justified and this to be similar to about 20%. So every week I'm looking at about 3 weekly bosses, and on average every 2 weeks I'm getting 1 or 2 of the prototype weapons. Now again, keep in mind, this crowdsourcing of data is not comprehensive enough to give us a great summary because we still need more data. Next up, let's have a look at some of the artifact dungeons that is tested and have data gathered. We can see again the incidence is not very high, so keep in mind guys, those numbers are estimates. we're looking for the 5-star artifacts, and starting with pretty much world level 5, we can see a lot of the 5-star artifacts, and with world level 6, usually it is guaranteed to drop at least 1 golden artifact. Now if you're thinking of doing your world level at level 4 or level 5, you can use those numbers as reference. But again, those numbers will require a lot more data, likely 1,000 and plus data to have a great estimate. So keep in mind guys, don't take those numbers too directly for now. And finally, we can have a look at some of the essential materials and also the talent book dungeons. We can see again the rates of those items dropping dramatically increase at world level 4, and this will be around adventure level 35. So if you're going for the artifacts, or if you're going for the materials or the books, consider delaying a little bit, coming to adventure level 35 or even higher world levels, and then go for them for the better drop rate. Now I also want to apologize for the data gatherers, because one of them did contact with me, and because I had so many messages after speaking to them once or twice, and I spoke to my mod about it, but next time I could not find the messages they were sending to me. I was getting flooded over hundreds and maybe not thousands, but I was getting flooded with a lot of message, and before I know it, I could not find the particular person that was trying to speak to me. And because of that, I wasn't able to get back to the data gatherer about sharing this. Now, if you haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so. Make sure you also turn the bell on for the latest news as I find more of them for us. You can see that we're really dedicated for Genshin Impact. We'll have builds, guides, tips, news, and events updates for everything that's Genshin Impact related. Next up, I have seen several new posts about adding new features to Genshin Impact. And over here, we do have a recommendation to add a training dummy. And they also have the perfect spots for the training dummy as well. This is pretty much a Mondstadt, where the lady who is training to be a knight is also practicing with the dummies. Now this dummy was pretty much introduced in World of Warcraft to test different builds and different combos and cooldowns to see how much damage you can deal. And if we can have like full of energy and to give us no cooldowns, or maybe give us high energy recharge over here with different characters, we can test out the healings, we can test out the damage, we can test out different elemental synergies with the training dummy. And this is so much easier if we try to test builds with critical rate, with damage, or with different elemental attacks. This will be so much nicer. So I really like the idea of adding a training dummy, and let me know what you guys think about it. So this way we can test what synergies and what combos works the best. And if possible, maybe the dummy can do some damage to us. And if we take damage, we can test out the healing comp and how consistently we can heal with different characters. So very thankful for Zephonix over here for sharing the idea of having a training dummy added to the game. Next up, Omi Sent Shadow over here spoke about adding a companion to the game. So we do have Paimon as a traveling companion, and you can see Vessel in the new event having Oz as the traveling companion that also speaks. How good it would be if every character have a traveling companion. Then he also shared an image of us, the traveler, sitting lonely over here by herself. So it would be nice if we get a traveling companion, and this can be a small pet system that possibly to be added to the game. Hopefully they doesn't add this to the gacha rates and having another gacha table for the pets. But it'll be a nice cosmetic and something maybe we can earn with reputation in the future to have a special character from each of the cities maybe. So let me know what you guys think. Next up, we'll be looking at some of the fun and creative posts made by BoBoGaijin over here, and also Netherdan. And finally, Halaman-kun over here to talk about the gacha system and the wish system in Genshin Impact. So let's have a look at this small comic over here. As the traveler wishes with 160 wish or 160 primal gems each, you see a bunch of stars flying across the sky. And he sees a gold star and it's flying right towards him. And before you know it, it's actually Klee. So Klee actually turns into a fireball in the game, if you guys know, when she actually lands with a plunge attack. And this is pretty much weapons flying towards him and Klee flying right at him. And it's a pretty nice comic because this also metaphorically says he actually got a 5-star, but the Klee falling from the sky right into him. Now coming over to this post, Fessel's comment in the Meteorite event talks about a foul curse could only arise as the consequence of the continuous cries of the unanswered longing or the lost amongst the unpredictable and impermanence of fate. So basically she's saying we're being super salty and being super angry that we didn't get any 5-stars, and that negative energy is been building up, and then that's how the meteorites came about. So our wishes and us not getting the 5-stars turned into the meteorites that started this event. And finally, we can see a post of Child shooting into the skies, and because he's a Hydro character, his arrow is actually blue, and because it is blue, it flies in the sky and across the sky as a single summon. And as you know guys, each of the single summons is pretty much a blue summon with a 3-star item. Now it'd be nice if later on we get a 5-star archer that goes with a gold color that give us a geo color maybe, and we can get a 5-star arrow coming to the sky. It'd be pretty cool though. So it's pretty lovely to see some of the posts about the gachas. I love the comics. I love the details with the dialogues of the characters, and finally I like about the ideas about Child giving us a 3-star as they shoot across the sky. Now usually we save the best to last, and over here you can see a comic made by goodluckpotato. So basically he says before a boss fight, those are our companions on the party and this is our inventory. After the boss fight, you see 3 very chubby and fully satisfied companions and 1 dead one, and we're out of food. So this really resembles how sometimes I fight the monsters as well. I keep eating the food and all of them fully satisfied, and sometimes 1 of them or 2 of them don't make it. And this is a very lovely post. You can see how many upvotes he's been getting for the past 3 days, and I like it. It's a really concise summary of the game, and it's very visualized. Look at Xiaoling, she's like super chubby afterwards. This is so fun, right? I like how it is creative and also visual with all the inventory and also the characters and the disproportional size with a little grave over here. So the Wind Traveler or the Geo Traveler didn't make it after the fight. To summarize today's news digest, we had a look at the crowdsourcing of the drop rate from different domains, different bosses, different wiki bosses, and this can give us a small estimate to see what we can expect with different world levels. After that, we had a look at some of the recommended features to be added to the game with a training dummy or maybe a pet system with different companions. Finally, we had a look at some of the fun comments about wishing and also getting different stars, and about the different theories of Child giving us a 3-star item as they shoot across the sky. We also had a look at this lovely comic talk about before the boss fight and after the boss fight, where everyone got supersized and ate all the food because the fight was so hard. Now if you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe and also turn the little bell on for the latest news. I'll be looking towards to make more builds, guides, tips and news and event updates for us as we come further into the game. And as always, I wish you guys the best of luck with Genshin and have the most fun in exploring this wonderful world.